Yalla Nabda. This is not a complete blueprint. It is an eye-opener, an invitation to begin drafting the real plans now. The goal is simple and urgent: to be ready the moment the war ends. We are not waiting for peace to start thinking. We are preparing today so that when the doors reopen, we walk through them with purpose. Education is where every nation's recovery truly begins. It is not merely a service to restart, it is the moral infrastructure of society. The classroom is the country in miniature, its justice, its imagination, its hope. If the school is weak, the nation limps. If the teacher is honored, the nation stands tall. This is the foundation, the first step toward rebuilding Sudan through learning that shapes lives, not just grades. For too long, education was treated as the memorization of answers, not the cultivation of minds. Children learned to find X on a page, but not their purpose in life. They left school able to recite facts, yet uncertain how to manage money, grow food, mend conflict, or serve their communities. A system that prizes examinations over imagination produces citizens who pass tests but fail to build nations. Our goal is to change that. We must teach life, not just lessons. Education must help students imagine, reason, and reflect, to see how every formula, every story, every discovery connects to the well-being of their families, their land, and their nation. When learning becomes relevant, children see themselves as creators of tomorrow, not consumers of today. Education for life means shaping lives, not just filling minds. It means hearts and hands engaged, not only curricula delivered, citizens formed, not just students tested, souls enlightened, not merely scores elevated. In Sudan's case, the recovery of education is the recovery of national identity. It is the moment we choose to value who our children become as much as what they know. Religion and civic education must stand together as pillars of that formation. From the earliest years, students should explore moral reasoning, compassion, and responsibility. Religion in its truest form teaches humility, care for neighbor, and respect for creation. Civic education teaches rights and duties, stewardship of resources, and the courage to serve. When these two strands weave together, they produce citizens of conscience, people whose faith and citizenship reinforce each other instead of competing. Such citizens can hold a nation together through both peace and crisis. But no reform succeeds if children are hungry, sick, or afraid. Schools must become places of health as well as knowledge. A healthy school is a healthy society in miniature, where children feel safe, nourished, included, and inspired. Global evidence is clear: learning improves dramatically when schools provide meals, safe water, sanitation, clean air, physical activity, and psychosocial support. For Sudan, this is not theory, it is survival. After years of war and displacement, classrooms must heal as much as they teach. Every reopened school should include meals that draw children back to class, health screenings that catch illness early, counseling for trauma, and buildings designed for light, shade, and ventilation. A child who eats, drinks clean water, and feels safe can learn. A child who is hungry or terrified cannot. The health of the institution and the health of the individual are inseparable. Without them, even the best curriculum fails. If children are the heart of schooling, teachers are its conscience. A nation that neglects its teachers abandons its future. When the teacher's salary is the lowest in society, knowledge itself starves. Reform must begin with teacher dignity. Fair pay, professional status, mentoring, and career pathways are not luxuries, they are levers of transformation. A hungry teacher cannot inspire, an empowered teacher can rebuild a generation. We must recruit, train, and honor educators as the architects of recovery. Initial training must blend theory with practice. Continuous coaching and peer learning should replace isolation. Career ladders must allow master teachers to guide others. And pay must reflect respect, benchmarked against comparable professions, with special support for those serving remote or fragile areas. Before we open every school, we must first rebuild the profession. That is phase 0 of reform. Time itself must also be redesigned. For decades, schooling followed rigid hours that ignored climate and context. But Sudan's heat, floods, and displacement demand flexibility. Learning time should adapt to seasons and conditions, morning and afternoon shifts to share scarce classrooms, breaks during peak heat, and flexible calendars for areas recovering from disaster. Quality matters more than quantity, fewer, deeper lessons that connect knowledge to real life. An adaptable calendar is not chaos, it is resilience. Climate resilience must guide every brick we lay. Floods will come, droughts will follow, temperatures will rise. A classroom built for the 1950s, climate cannot protect children in 2050. Schools must be raised above flood levels, shaded from sun, cooled by cross-ventilation, powered by solar energy, and equipped for safe water and sanitation. When we design climate-smart schools, we are not just building shelters for learning, we are building sanctuaries of survival. The road from emergency to excellence begins with honesty. Even before this war, millions of Sudanese children were out of school. Now the challenge is greater, but so is the opportunity. We can rebuild better than before. Recovery must be reform, not repetition. The blueprint is clear. Audit every school, repair what can be saved, design what must be new. Recruit and retrain teachers. Guarantee school meals, safe routes, and clean water. Update the curriculum to include life skills, faith, and civic responsibility. Set national indicators for reading, attendance, well-being, and transition rates. Let every step of reopening be a step toward transformation. As months turn into years, the system must evolve from emergency learning spaces to resilient campuses, from temporary teaching to professional mastery, from disconnected subjects to integrated purpose. Secondary schools should offer both academic and technical pathways, agriculture, renewable energy, health, digital skills, aligned with national needs. Universities must reconnect research to local industries and environmental stewardship. Digital learning should link rural and urban classrooms, turning isolation into inclusion. At every level, religion and civic education must remain the moral compass. In the early years, children learn kindness, respect, and community service. In adolescence, they study ethics, citizenship, and interfaith dialogue. In upper grades, they explore morality in leadership, stewardship of natural resources, and civic participation. Through service projects and community engagement, students discover that faith without service is hollow and citizenship without conscience is blind. By graduation, they are not only employable, they are accountable. This is the essence of education for life, the formation of capable, compassionate, humble human beings. People who can think, feel, and act, who can turn ideas into actions and challenges into lessons. A nation of such citizens will not only rebuild, it will renew. To get there, action must start now. Ministers, directors, teacher leaders, and community organizers cannot wait for stability to plan stability. Begin drafting policies, budgets, and pilot projects today. Create working groups for each priority: teacher reform, curriculum, infrastructure, nutrition, health, digital learning. Collect baseline data where possible. Host community dialogues to define local values and civic modules. Engage partners so that funding readiness aligns with reform readiness. Every week of delay in planning is a year of delay in transformation. When the war ends, schools must reopen not to resume what was, but to start what should be. The doors must open to a new philosophy of learning, one that measures success not by examination results, but by the strength of the citizens it produces. Education for life teaches children to respect the earth that feeds them, to work with integrity, to think critically, to care deeply, and to act responsibly. It honors the teacher as a nation builder, the parent as a partner, the community as a classroom, and the child as the seed of the future. Because no matter how much knowledge we pour into their minds, it means little if their hands cannot build, their hearts cannot love, and their character cannot endure. We don't need just graduates, we need whole human beings, capable, compassionate, curious, grounded in faith and civic duty, ready to serve. This is the foundation upon which every future episode and every future school will stand. We are not rebuilding only classrooms, we are rebuilding souls and societies. The war may have destroyed walls, but it cannot destroy the hope of a child, the dignity of a teacher, or the dream of a nation that believes in learning again. Let this be the moment Sudan chooses not merely to recover education, but to transform it, for today and for generations to come. Let us build a system that teaches life, restores dignity, honors faith and citizenship, and prepares each child for a life of purpose and service. Let us build an education system that stands not for memorization, but for meaning, not for exams, but for excellence of spirit, not just for employment, but for enlightenment. Let us build one that stands for dignity, for purpose, for hope, and for the life ahead. Yalla Nabda. Let's begin.